Hi guys, I'm Corey Davidson. I want to talk to you guys about a couple different things I do to help out with mobility, stretching, flexibility, relaxation. Those things are all kind of tied together. First off, I'm going to start with a lacrosse ball. So you could use any small tool like this. Lacrosse balls are nice because they are firm, small, and super cheap. Lacrosse balls are not an expensive thing to grab. So I'm going to use this as a form of self-massage, sometimes called self-myofascial release, or SMR if you see it written down somewhere. This is all under the category of SMR, so self-myofascial release. And I'm just going to hit 4 spots that I think give you a lot of bang for your buck if you're like most people. So most people sit down way too much. Most people spend way too much time with their shoulders rolled forward, they are on a cell phone or on a computer or driving. So we see a lot of really common issues. I know everyone's special and everybody's different, but most people have really similar hip, low back, shoulder issues. So I'm going to start off, we're going to take this lacrosse ball and we're going to stick it underneath our glute, trying to target a muscle called the piriformis. So I'm going to take this, sit it underneath my right glute, and then I'm going to take my right leg and cross over. And that, as I roll into the outside of that glute, is going to be what gets into that piriformis. So we're going to find that spot where I feel some tension. Now we're just going to hang out here for about 30 seconds. You could definitely do longer. I'm just doing 30 seconds because that's appropriate for me, and also so this video doesn't get too boring. Then once I'm done with that, I'm just going to transfer over to the other side. Same exact thing. Just find that tight spot, let it sink in. Good. Next, since a lot of people get knee pain, and a lot of times that knee pain, not all the time, but a lot of times that knee pain is caused by tight quads kind of pulling on that knee, we're going to use this lacrosse ball on the quads and a little bit into that IT band over on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this lacrosse ball, set it on the ground, and then we're going to flip over and lie down on top of it. So letting the weight of our body sink into that lacrosse ball and apply some pressure. Like all of these self-myofascial release techniques, we want to try to relax and breathe into it. So despite the fact that this is painful, I'm going to try to breathe in this position. As I find a tight spot, I'm just going to let it sink in there for 20-30 seconds. And this is something you could spend as much time on as you wanted to. Once again, for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to spend all the time on it that I probably could, especially as I get over into the right side, the outside part of my leg. Got a lot of tight stuff there, but I have a real good knot right in the middle, so I'm going to spend a little bit of extra time there. And because of the position we're in, we can do something called pinning and flossing. So we're going to let that knot sink in, let the lacrosse ball sink into that knot, and then from there we're actually going to flex that muscle up and down. So we're going to move our ankle up and down so that that knot is forced to get a little bit of a tug on it in addition to that pressure. 5 or 6 flexes is usually good enough. Then we'll trade over, do the other side. Same thing, just finding that tight spot. Loosening up those quads is gonna help take some of that pressure off the knee, if that's the cause of your knee pain. Might not be the only cause, but it's usually a contributor. And it's actually a good thing if you find out that this is really painful, because it means that your tissue is unhealthy, and it's unhealthy in a way you can probably fix through something simple like massage. So we would much rather your knee pain be caused by tight muscles than something that a orthopedist has to deal with, or a surgeon. After that, we're going to get into the upper body. I'm going to start off with a spot that everybody's tight, which is the area right around your traps. If you've ever given someone a very simple massage, that's usually where people start, right around the back of the neck, shoulder area. You dig your thumbs in right on either side of the spine, and that's always a tight spot for people. So we're going to let the lacrosse ball hit that for us now. So we're going to lay down. We're going to let that lacrosse ball find tight spots in that upper shoulder. Just let it sink in. So that is that tight spot for me. And now that I'm there, I'm gonna do that same pin and floss. So I'll move around, putting that shoulder into different positions, forcing all those muscle fibers to try to stretch to allow me to move around, but they can't stretch fully because I have that pressure on it through the lacrosse ball. We're gonna get some good relief right here. It's the same thing a really good massage therapist would do with you. They would use their thumb and pin down right there, and then get you to move your arm around so you can get some relief. If you're an athlete and you notice that you're restricted in a certain motion or certain movement, you can then replicate that movement while you're doing this. So if you're a swimmer, by all means, reach up and around like you're swimming. If your big goal is to bench press more, then by all means, move that elbow up and down, almost like you're trying to bench press. Then the other side. I would say on these 2 minutes is probably the minimum I would do. And I don't think there really is an upper limit outside of your own schedule. So you want to do this for 15 minutes on one area and you can handle it, then you're probably fine. Finally, we're going to move into the pec. So a lot of people get tightness right around there on the pec or the pec minor, the outside part of the chest. So we're just going to lay down, arm behind our back, and sink into that area. Once again, even though it's painful, we're trying to breathe deeply and relax into that position. And the other side. And there we have it. 4 very simple spots to get into using a lacrosse ball. Once again, you can use a baseball. Tennis ball works okay, just not as great because it doesn't have as much tension to push back onto you. But those are 4 really easy spots for you to hit, give you a lot of bang for your buck. You can do this and then follow that up with some real stretching or mobility work.